Hyattsville, New Jersey. And now, the town talker, Reverend Zechariah Jackson.
Oh, it's good coming to you. You know it's good coming to you. This is the American Reverend Zechariah Jackson of the Church of What's Happening Now, Town Talker Talk Show. You know, this is my last show. It's been 5 years here at Harvest Radio. I learned a whole lot. Of course, I'm going to miss Harvest Radio. I'm going to miss the staff and great engineer over there, Bob Hunt. So I'm going to miss many of them. Miss Melissa, miss, you know, so many people. Yvonne Nunn was one engineer I started out with many years ago. And I'm going to miss, you know, just so many people and everything I'm going to miss. But I just want to say, you know, like everything, the Reverend wanted to just come in and play a few of the old shows and everything and just depart peacefully. But again, the spirit of evil is at hand. You know, sometimes you have to take a look at who you have become and why you have become that person and how you have evolved, you know. I enjoy being a reverend and senior pastor of the Church of What's Happening Now, and I enjoy it. I enjoy doing the work, you know, getting out here and marching with Steve Hatcher, the chairman of POP in Plainfield, New Jersey. I enjoy being out there with him, and although sometimes I get the dirty look by people for marching, but I enjoy doing work, you know, because God has inspired us to do the work, and I enjoy to travel along, you know. But I'll tell you, you know, we're trying to mend, and I know that September 11th is a day of remembrance. You know, I remember where I was at September 11, 2001, when the first plane hit. I thought the World Trade Center in New York City, I thought that it was just like a little, you know, Cessna aircraft. I didn't know it was a big aircraft. And then when I kept looking, because I was working at a friend of mine's house in Union, and I kept looking at the TV, and I see another plane coming around. So, oh, that must be the water plane that was going to throw water on the building. And come to find out, I said, oh my God, it went through the building. What is this? Then I said, whoa. The next thing you know, a tower dropped. Okay. I said, oh man. Oh man. Next thing you know, the next tower dropped. It was people running, and they were running. Now, I never forget one guy. He said this right here as he was running away from the smoke. He said, all praise is due to Allah, that Allah got me away from this smoke. He said, I would have been consumed by it and died. He said that right there on the streets of New York. You don't have to listen to me. Go to ABC or any CNN or any of the news networks that was out there. I'm sure you can Google it or YouTube it. YouTube it. It's there. Now, we're trying to heal. The whole world is trying to heal. You know, I can tolerate things today that I couldn't tolerate years ago. I go back to 1974, 73 with my father first went blind. I never forget my mother sit me down and say, you know, she said, son, Daddy is blind now. And I never forget sitting on the couch there. And we were very humble at the time, and humble not only because of my daddy went blind, but because of the fact that we just didn't have nothing. You know what I mean? We were, you know, Mama made the best she could with what we had. And I never forget, I asked my mother, I said, what can I do to help? She said, well, you're going to have to help him around the house for a while and everything. And I did the best I could as a young man. I did the best. I tried to be the best soldier I could be to my father as I marched around. And then, you know, there was this big bully in town, and he was talking about my mama. He kept on talking about my mother, called him all kinds of names. And I looked at the bully, and I said to him, and I was a little weak guy at the time, and I said to him, I said, please, in the name of God, would you please not talk about my mama no more? This is all I got. This is all I got. But he kept on talking, kept on running his mouth and everything. And then he talked with such anger, I thought maybe he would even try his best to attack my mother. I didn't know where he was coming from, you understand me? Because that's all we had. Daddy was blind at the time, you know. And I'll never forget, I was a little wee cat at the time. And I never forget, there was a 6-foot fence. Me and him had a conversation. He was pushing me around, and I told him, I said, please, in the name of God, would you not talk about my mama no more? He called my mother every kind of name, made me cry. And I come up with a punch. I tell you right now, that punch was so strong, I knocked him over a 6-foot fence. And as he was flying over the fence, I was flying over it with him. And I land on the other side and beat daylights out of him. Because that's all I had. We didn't have anything else. All we had to depend on Mama for our eyes and everything, our ears and everything. Or Daddy was blind. We had nothing else. I say this right here. I say that story not to boast about a great jab or great uppercut that I had, that I knocked daylights out of Big Billy and knocked him over the fence and beat the hell out of him. Not because of that. I see that because that's all we had. You know, this Reverend down south, Terry Jones, you know, he on September 11th, he's going to burn the Muslim book, the Quran. He's going to burn it that day because he feels that he wants to show some light and flex his muscle. And, you know, I say to Terry, as a pastor, to you, you're a pastor of a church with 15 people, not because you got 15 people, I'm laughing at it because I don't have a church yet, but the idea that you do have some kind of church down there in the state of Florida, you know, you're going to burn the Quran, and I say this right here, please, in the name of God, would you back down? Sometimes you need to surrender. And I don't say that out of any kind of fear. And church, and folks, let me tell you why. You see, because my evolution as an American person isn't only because of the Bible. It's because of God's favor on us that we have evolved. If you told me that you were going to burn some Bibles, I wouldn't be so, you know, so disturbed by it. And the reason why I wouldn't be so disturbed by it, because we have many Bibles, you know, Bibles everywhere, you know, and I've seen kids even rip a Bible, you know what I mean, went to churches and the word page out was ripped out of the Bible. But I know that we can get a Bible here anywhere because of the, you know, the way that America is and everything, you know, the evolution of the American people. We you know, they print them, the printing press. If you go back that far, you can get on the internet, get it everywhere. But you're going to take this book and burn it. And some of them people are going to feel the same way I felt about my mama. Now today, my mother was living and Billy was talking about my mama. And if I had the same mind today, I would let Billy alone. I would knock him over that fence and jump over the fence after him and beat daylights out of him. I wouldn't do that right there because I have evolved. But at that point, that's the challenge. That's all I had. And some of these Muslim nations have not materialistically evolved. You still have some of the nations where they got horse and buggy like we had in Georgia years ago. Some you look at it on CNN, look at the TV cat, you see a car, but then you see a guy walking down the street on a mule or on a donkey, pulling all of his wares and pulling all of this, that, and the other and everything and stuff. So I say that it would be a great strike for you to do that. And especially with where we're trying to get along with the world now and everything, and everybody's trying to come around. They're trying to come around. And here you are, you're going to jump out there and burn the Quran, their holy book, and basically spitting upon them. And I beg you not to do that right there because I don't see the need. You know, there were every kind of people that got killed on September 11th. And, you know, when you travel around the world, like I have a story for Jesus, how he saved me and brought me back. There's people that have a story about Buddha that brought them back. There's a person that have a story about Allah that brought them back. But I also have met people, and I've said it right here on Harvest Radio, that don't have no story about no God. They don't have no God at all in them at all. Those are folks that I'm kind of frightened of because they have nothing to stop them. You're supposed to be a man of God, Terry Jones. If you are that man, then you should not burn that Quran. Now, I'm going to play a little bit of what you said, because you know you're all over YouTube. Let me play a little bit for the audience.
And what happened was, of course, a very, very serious thing. I believe that it reveals the true colors of Islam. And And we thought about what can we do to really show the dangers of what happened that day. And it's not only what happened that day, but actually what Islam does around the world. And we felt burning the Quran would be something of that magnitude.
It is the duty of Muslims to react when the holy book...
Now, he said that, you know, that it's the reaction of the people, and that it is his duty to burn the Quran. But now, you can't tell me everybody in the Islamic faith feel that same way as those terrorists felt that day, if they were even Muslim. We don't know that we don't know that they were really Muslim. We know that they come from a Muslim nation and that they were supposedly assumed to be, but we don't know what books they really studied. Now, I took the liberty to go in my library to bring some stuff. I got a Quran, the Holy Quran, text translated by Yusuf Ali. Now, I'm going to go to the opening of the Quran, and I'm trying to figure out, where do it talk about all this violence? Is it, because just like in 1973 when I knocked Big Billy over that fence and jumped on him and beat the hell out of him. Now, all Christians don't feel that way. Some people could be able to, man, I ain't paying no mind, keep it moving. But that was my personal action. Now, when I beat daylights out of him, of course, I said, thank you, Jesus, for giving me strength. But now, the church didn't feel that way. You understand me? That was just my own actions. Now, let me read the first, what they will call surah. We call them a chapter. And they are titled their verses as ayaks. We call our verses verse, you know, chapter 1, verse whatever. And they go surah 1, verse 1. This is the opening of the Quran. Now, show me where all this danger that you say. It says in the first ayat, which is first verse. Let me just say it like this right here. It said, in the name of God, the most gracious and most merciful. Okay, number 2 said, praise be to God, the cherisher and sustainer of the world. Number 3 says, most gracious, most merciful. Number 4 says, master of the day of judgment. We worship. 5 say, we worship, and thy aid we seek, meaning aid from God. Now, numbers 6 go off to say, show us the straight way. Now, okay, number 7 says, the way of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy grace, those whose portion is not wrath, and who do not go astray. Well, we say the same thing to our young people and everything, don't go astray and everything and stuff. So show me where it says it, Reverend Terry Jones, that it says it in this book that they were supposed to act like in the actions that they did, or in the actions that the many nations that are at war today. The Quran don't say that. It does not say that. This is a personal thing. You follow me? This is a personal thing. This is not what the Quran, it does not say that right there. Now, I have a Quran that was written in the 10th century. The Quran interpreted, translated by A.J. Avery, right? It says, certainly the most beautiful English version, and among those by non-Muslim translators, the one that comes closest to conveying the impression made on Muslims by the origins. Okay, now this was written. This is an English translation. It goes to the same thing to open it. It says, now here we go. In the name of God, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Praise belong to God, the Lord of all beings, the all-magnificent and the all-compassionate, the master of the day of doom. Okay. Thee only we serve, to thee only we pray for guidance. Guide us in the straight path, the path of those who thou hast blessed, not of those against